get it.
It's tea time.
But now it's tea time.
So is there like an overarching thing about this podcast that you guys?
Nothing you need to know. We just wing it. Every time we just sit down and shoot the shit a little.
We'll go a little bit something like this.
I'm gonna turn this
Yeah, you want to give that a pause?
Yeah, no MO. Just out here trying to get to know you a little better.
Can I include just a little bit of that? Because I caught it on the recording.
Oh, sure.
Like as the intro.
Yeah, why not?
So all right, that was a little bit of a Ian. Will it be Ian Roller?
Yeah, it's
Cool.
gonna be under my name.
Is this your first thing you've put out?
Under my name, yes. I've put out 4 songs from this record before, but
Like as singles?
yeah, as singles.
Nice.
But,
Get right up on that microphone.
oh, you got it.
There we go. Yeah. The microphone's your best friend.
Hey, right now.
So is there a drop date for it?
Nope. There's just a closeness to completion.
Sick.
Yeah, and there's going to be a little period of time where I just kind of try to let some people know about it, let people know about me, because I'm not necessarily like the guy who's been out there doing this for sure. So it's a little bit of a shift in perception of what I'm about.
Sure, pushing yourself as like an artist versus you're normally like a music director or a horn player or something like
Actually,
part of an ensemble.
no, not as an artist. Like this project isn't really about pushing me as an artist. Like
Okay.
the whole point of my album is it's not about me.
Okay.
Because like I was mentioning earlier, it's got like 43 people on it. Mm-hmm. A lot of different writers, a lot of different. I mean, I did most of the production, but there was production help along the way for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say it's really just a melting pot of what I like to do in music, and because ultimately I to this point I usually have found more joy in being of service to other people's music. Not that I have any, I love making music just because I love making music, but like when there's an artist who has a vision or is struggling to even see in a moment, and like we can just have a conversation that can create a vision, you know what I mean? Like I'm really into that, like in a big way. So I think this album kind of showcases that. Like either I'll bring an idea to an artist. That was usually what it was in this case. It'd be like I started something and then bring it over to an artist to see what they were thinking might,
just what comes to them, like see what naturally kind of happens.
Yeah.
Was it like,
It's a fun process.
was it like, I'm going to make an album, or are these just songs you kind of like made over time and at some point you looked at them, you're like, oh, there you go. That could be an album.
Well, in February of 2020, I was about 3 months back from my first like real tour, and feeling really good. But then the tour didn't entirely go the way that I wanted it to in terms of the smoothness, and I was like, in a little bit of like a self-doubt type of place, in a bit of a needing to take control kind of place. Needing to feel like I have more control over different aspects of music production. So I really got together with my buddy Lee Gentile one day, a college buddy of mine, who just moved back to LA, and we started making track 1 on the album, and that kind of told me what I needed to do. I felt that there needed to be this time of studying new sides of things, and
Before that, had you just sat down and like produced and just made something kind of from nothing?
so before that I have a band called Generator that started in 2015, and that band was co-writes with my buddy Gabe Steiner, whose producer name is Bubs.
Nice.
And he's awesome. We went to kindergarten together.
Wow, cool.
Elementary through high school. And that was really cool. But he's the guy who I've been one of the people who I was watching do the stuff at the computer, and he like really took it and ran with it. We both got our start in high school. We went to Hamilton Music Academy in Los Angeles, and over in Mid City by near downtown Culver City. You know it, the Green Bell Tower off the 10 freeway.
No, I can't picture it.
Right,
But, I mean, I
right
know
at
the area, but
the
not
Robertson
the school.
exit. Yeah,
Okay,
anyway, yeah, just trying to paint a picture here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful green dome coming off the traffic from the 10.
Yeah, you can just see the fog in the
picture
air
it.
from
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah, the dirty yellow soot in the air.
I love LA.
And so you had watched him do it, but you hadn't really done it yourself. Like sat and sort of made something from nothing. on the
Right. I
computer.
was in the generator production process. I was more of the guy hands off with using the ears and saying what I wanted and balancing it off of what he wanted, and balancing our ideas off of each other, which was awesome. But at a certain point, it was like, our friendship started to become so much about music that it was like, how do you balance that? And we just had to kind of take some time to just be friends, and then as a result, I'm realizing, well, I really need to figure this out for myself. I've been recording myself for an artist named Elusive a lot, and some other people randomly here and there.
But that's like them sending you a track and you doing a
I was
horn
on,
line or doing
I was
something.
on GarageBand.
Yeah.
I was just recording. I didn't even have the ability to crossfade tracks. I just, I was on freaking GarageBand, and
Which is powerful. GarageBand is the same as like
Look,
Logic, just
a wave
less
is a wave,
to,
right?
Yeah,
or
a wave is a
AIF,
wave.
whatever.
Yeah.
So like, what it is. So I mean, that was cool, and that served its purpose. There's a lot of great music that came out of those times, but
Yeah.
once I started getting more in control, there was like one time when Elusive sent me a record and he was like, "Can you play sax on this?" And I was like, "Can I like restructure the form of this instead and add vocals and get Jametta Rose on vocals if she's down? I hope she'll be down." And he's like, "Yeah." Like,
Yeah.
because he's the type of dude who's always let me do whatever I wanted with the music. So I just kind of was like, well, now I've got more control. So let me see if he'll, if he's down. And so he let me do that. And this song, it's still one of my favorite songs that I've co-written and co-produced, called Time Just Stops. Came out, I don't know, a couple of years ago. Miss you.
Thank you.
Bless.
I don't think I lost
Blessings
it. Oh,
all
geez.
around.
Did you get it? Was that
No,
a sneeze?
no, I swallowed it down.
Well, bless the potential.
I think it's the flowers.
sneeze that
The flowers
tried.
I've dragged. Excuse me.
We'll put a dome over that. We'll burn that. I can totally relate though. Like I had a buddy in college who was like, I would drum and he would cut that up and sample and we would rap and stuff and like I'd give ideas, but it was always him sort of at the helm.
Right.
And then at one point living in LA, like I got myself a little MIDI thing and I just started producing my own stuff and like it was just so fun. But yeah, it had always been something I just watched somebody else do.
Right.
And then finally like,
I mean, it's so valuable to even have that, because not a lot of people have that when they first get into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's like
That
someone
was
to
my
watch the value of
experience.
that.
I just watch. I've logged so many hours watching Paul, and now I can do like some basic things.
It makes sense.
For sure.
You start
Well,
to
and-
see what you hear and the way that
Yes.
things relate, and you're like, oh, wait, okay, so that's what that is. Okay.
For sure.
Making the
Yeah.
connections. Yeah. I mean, I've been watching my boy Will Borza, my mastering engineer to this day,
Mm-hmm.
who was over at my place yesterday helping me with the finishing touches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we went to college together since 2007. He was a jazz major, but even as a freshman, he was already starting to record his homies. We had a little studio in the dorm, and he was the only guy who would use it. And he would get
Wow.
the homies to come over and record us. And like, he was,
Oh, because it was like a music school or like a performance school.
was
There was
the
a
dorm.
recording studio in the dorm that anyone
it
could
was
use?
the music dorm. Like building
Oh,
4,
cool.
I think, was
Yeah.
like the music dorm.
At what school? I'm just going to make sure things are recording. I just had like a paranoid feeling that I didn't
Oh.
click record. What school? Red Dot? Red Dot?
That's a red dot.
Red Dots. Okay,
Them's-
we're
them's
good.
red
We're
dots
good.
all
Just
around.
checking.
Nobody panic here.
I was just checking. I just had a feeling like, fuck, did I? Anyway, well,
So
what,
we're-
what school did you go to?
Oh, yeah.
The Hamilton thing? The
Well, this was college, Cal State Northridge.
Okay, the Hamilton thing was like a high school.
Hamilton High, yeah.
Hamilton High.
Going on to Cal State North. Yeah, Hamilton is a music magnet. Well, there's 6 magnets in the school, and one of them is music and performing arts. So
Okay.
a lot of great actors came out of there. A lot of great entertainers of all kinds. My stand partner in freshman year, shout out to Carl Tart, who does a lot of podcasts. He's on like a Comedy Bang Bang podcast a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
He was my stand partner in freshman year.
Wow.
And he made me laugh so much he got me kicked out of the jazz band. Like beginning of sophomore year, I wasn't in the jazz band.
Because you were just like snickering the whole time?
I was
or what?
laughing all the time. This dude was so funny, and like,
Wow.
and he was just making me laugh. He like God made fun. It was fun for him to make me laugh. And
Sure.
I guess it was easy because I
Nothing's
like comedy. You know.
Yeah. Nothing's better than
Good
like
sport.
trying to make your friend laugh when we're not allowed to laugh right now. You know, like that, like a
man.
school assembly, like just trying to like or like, you know.
It's hard to
any
get
moment.
a grip. Yeah.
I would
for
always do
sure.
that to Zach Barr, like
He's an
try to
easy
make him laugh
target.
when I couldn't. Yeah, when he wouldn't, or when he shouldn't. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so then.
Then there are those people who you just like they don't laugh very often, so you just like work extra hard to make them laugh.
And it's like an earned
Heading
laugh.
over
It's
backwards
like,
for it, yeah.
Yeah, the coveted.
My boy Shags,
Elusive.
my boy Shags, who mixed 2 tracks on the album that's about to drop. He doesn't. I picture him as a guy who doesn't smile that much. He smiles, but he's get very like straight faced, right? So, the album cover features everybody on the album cover drawn in.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
yeah, I'm really stoked on it. The artist is Tawny Gem, and she's done all my artwork for this whole project, the whole Ian Roller project, and she's incredible, including animation and all kinds of cool stuff. She made a IG filter for my first single. That was really
Wow.
cool, like a moving
Sick.
thing where you could put your face into it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was getting to her. Oh, because Shags, she drew Shags on there, and it was a smile on there. It was like a cartoony smile, and I was like, "Hey, can we?" I don't want him frowning, but can he definitely not be like smiling that big? Because that's not Shags.
just not
It
him.
totally looks like Shags, except for this upturn going on, and like
That wouldn't be there.
I told Shags, he was like, I smile, man. What the fuck?
That's funny. He's a hard laugh.
I smile a lot. I laugh. I like to laugh. You know.
He's like, you're just not that funny, Ian.
Right. I really took that personally, actually. You know, like, oh,
He's like, I laugh all
you
the
do?
time. Yeah.
Man, just when I'm not around now.
Yeah. What's the name of this album?
It's called Rollercoaster.
Nice.
Nice and corny and easy to remember.
Yeah, there you go.
You know.
Ian Roller Coaster. Is like the image all of you guys on a roller coaster or anything like that?
More or
it's just-
less.
More or less.
More or less.
That's amazing.
You can see it now.
Yeah, like I'm picturing like amusement park caricatures of
Yeah.
people, you know, like those drawings.
That's pretty much.
And there's one guy not
fun.
smiling.
Yeah. We're under
Sucks.
attack.
Yeah, we're under attack.
Sometimes this house.
Yeah, you were saying you
properly rattles.
soundproofed your apartment. We're like the opposite. This place is like like when a car drives by, the windows shake. Like it's crazy in here. And like, I mean, yeah, I need to kind of treat this room for the podcast would be good to treat because like you can hear that.
If you're going to treat it, just know this: soundproofing is one thing, acoustic treatment is another. Soundproofing is much more involved than acoustic treatment.
Right, soundproofing would be like not letting sound in or out. Acoustic treatment is just dealing with the reverberation.
Right, how the room, how
Yes,
the
okay, so
sound
acoustic
being made in
treatment.
here sounds.
Yeah, acoustic treatment is actually more what I need than anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to avoid that, that's going to be a much more expensive. And
Yeah. I'm less
Like
worried
you-
about that. It's just like the sound of the room.
The
you know,
sound of the room.
I'd prefer more of a dead room to be doing a podcast in,
Understand.
but it is what it is.
Something that I've used before is this company that I was supposed to have like an actual proper endorsement situation with, but then I don't know. I guess I'll shout them out now, just because it might help you
Maybe it
guys.
is.
Are you sure you
Oh,
want
there
to
you
work
go.
for free? No.
Hey, look, hey, they gave me free stuff, so
All right.
I'm not mad.
All right, let's hook them up.
I'm not trying to gloat, but that was nice. Chaotica Eyeball.
Uh-huh.
It basically turns your mic. It's not without its disadvantages, but those don't apply to this, I think. So
It's like a foam ball you put on top of a microphone.
yes.
I do have that actually.
Yeah.
I never use it, but I have it.
Yeah.
I should use it.
It's just better like sponging of the sound.
It's basically meant for bedroom producers who don't have good acoustics in their room, you know, or whatever. Meant for people use it in studio too. Like I've seen it, but one thing that it does is it takes out a lot of the highs of your voice. It kind of a little bit, you know, it very much makes your voice more directional. And just kind of centers it in like this, you know what I mean? Instead of this, it's
Yeah.
going to be a lot more like this.
Wow.
And it's it's powerful, it
Yeah.
moves, but it's,
You lose something.
yeah, you lose a lot of, so yeah.
But in a
just,
shit room, it's probably a benefit.
or just if you're not trying to make vocals sound like all reverbed out, or make it, if you're just trying to have some direct vocals for a podcast and it's not supposed to fit in the musical scenario, it would probably work really well.
Interesting.
So that's one side of shit that
Yeah,
I've
thank
been,
you.
that I've
Appreciate
been
it. What's
getting
the
into lately.
Experimenting with,
Like,
yeah.
what all did you do? You said you built like a room within a room in your apartment to kind
Yeah.
of build like a studio in
Yeah,
there.
my
So what
buddy
exactly
Jermaine Brown
did you do?
Did that. I've got a buddy who turned his whole house into a studio, and I've got other friends who are good acousticians. I wouldn't be able to do any of this without some serious guidance from friends who
You're good at collaborating.
thankfully don't want to see me just completely fail and fall on my ass, you know. So
Yeah.
like they're like, oh no, here's some things you should know. And you know, I'm always excited when I have a reason to call a friend who knows something that I don't, and just be like, hey, can you tell me how I can do, like, you know, just learning all these new things is really exciting. So
I'm glad you say that, because I like to do that too. Even though in the world of Google, I still feel like sometimes you should just phone a friend instead.
I'm the worst at finding information on Google. I mean, like if it's like real straightforward, like a question answer thing, yeah. But if you got a specific answer about a niche thing, the internet is so full of idiots for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You'll just get like all kinds of people. Well, I can't figure out how to open the box to the Logic program.
Yeah. Oh, like a forum, like something
No,
like
yeah,
in a forum.
these forums
I get
and
lost. I
stuff,
hate
it's
forums.
just
Yeah,
like these people.
I'm not like a
there's
Reddit.
nothing helpful.
I'm not gonna dive deep dive.
Have you fucked with Chat GPT at all?
No.
It's like it
I'm
is a
behind
little
on technology. I
better.
have a song on my album called "I Hate Technology."
Nice.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Well, so it's like a free app you can download, the ChatGPT app, and like they're not a sponsor, I promise, but it's for some things.
But they should be.
You can just like you ask it like a direct question, and it'll just give it to you, like list all the states in order of population or whatever. Like just you can like, and it'll just give you the answer, and then you
Yeah.
can say, actually, like only give me the West Coast of those answers, or like you can like follow up with more questions, and it'll keep feeding it. It's
Right.
really amazing. Like for times when Google is just like not giving you it, ChatGPT is like a good. It's got its problems too. Like it's not perfect, but
Yeah.
it's a free.
Somebody
app,
showed
and
me this thing called
pretty
like
fun.
I want to say Goblin Tools recently, and it's really nice too, because if you're like overwhelmed, it's kind of made for like neurodivergent minds, and so if you get overwhelmed easily or like procrastinate a lot, it'll like spit out tasks for you to do. So you punch in and you'd be like, you know, I need to reorganize my kitchen, and it'll give you like all the steps to like
Oh.
redo, like
So you put in the
common
goal,
steps or whatever.
and it'll give you.
Yeah,
Amazing.
or like you put in, how do I build an Excel spreadsheet, and it'll give you like the first actionable items, and it just spits it all out, and you can increase or decrease the amount of detail in each step, so you can like get it really, really nitty gritty and get down to it, or it can be like a
Like a broad
sweeping
picture.
instructional thing.
Wow. That's kinda
And,
cool. It's called Goblin.
Yeah, and another one of the cool things I thought it does is it will, I haven't used it that much, but there's a feature where you can analyze somebody's message to you, and it'll give you an interpretation of the tone. So like if you feel like, oh, I just read this email from my boss and I feel a little bit defensive about it. I don't know if that was rude. Am I just imagining it's rude, or was that actually like aggressive? You can put it in there, and it'll be like, this is written, and it'll like highlight keywords, and it's like, it's likely this person intended this message to be received in this way. And it's like,
I wouldn't trust that
it's interesting.
because you got to know like without knowing the personality of who's texting you, it's so different. Like,
Well, I'm just telling you, it's analyzing the words that this person's chosen, and it's
But, like,
creating a
if-
takeaway from the message.
if you text me like, hey asshole, like how come you didn't take out the trash? I know 100% that's sarcastic, and you're just like fucking with me, and you're just kind of being silly.
I don't know how it processes
But if it's
sarcasm.
just read a text of hey ass, yeah, like sarcasm would be hard.
Yeah, I don't
without
know.
knowing the human.
I
But that's
think-
kind of cool.
I think you're already finding ways to abuse this system. This is just
I'm not abusing the system. I'm questioning the results.
I think you're right to question. It's fair, but I think I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I'm usually like, I'm a late adapter.
Me too.
Adapter. Like when new technology comes out, I'm not the first to get it. I didn't get an iPhone till like 2013
Right. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, and like I'm in no rush, you know?
I'm pretty slow to it too.
Yeah, with most things. I just kind of, once it becomes like everyone's got it and like it just becomes like you just kind of need it, then I usually get it.
Have you heard about like Dolby Atmos, mixing in Dolby Atmos? So like this is the new craze in the music industry is they're mixing.
It's like an AI mixing.
No, think about how things sound in a movie theater. You've got sound coming from every which direction, right? Mm-hmm. So I can't remember how many speakers it is, 12, 18 speakers, something, all different up, down, side to side, front and back.
Right.
360 experience. So people haven't mixed for that. I'm not the expert on this side of things, but like all I know is they're starting to do this on a grander scale and have it be like a standard thing where people actually mix songs for consumption in Dolby Atmos. And like, I'm interested in it, but I got to hear something recently for the first time in a proper Dolby Atmos room, a couple of different ones, but like, I'm not sure.
It's interesting because you would only really get the effect in a theater or in a very like sort of expensive room. Like most living rooms or cars aren't equipped with those, right? So it's still probably just dealing with your stereo image.
Right. And I'm wondering if the biggest application is for movies, that like a lot of songs that get picked up for movies, it's like, well, they were mixed in stereo, so anything you're going to do in post is going to be in post, but like it's stereo. What are you going to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? To make it Dolby Atmos. So versus like now people are starting to go in and like actually
cool.
And
like,
it's like
have
18...
mixing engineers from the get-go, like conceptualize a 360 mix on this thing, you know?
Wow.
Well, because there was like Dolby Digital 5.1, which was like 5. And, you know, instead of stereo, which is 2, this was like 5, you know, like center, left, right, and like 2 in the back or something like that. That was like probably in like the 2000s.
Right, I remember that.
So now it's what, like 18 something?
But would that like pinpoint particular pieces of the music, like tracks of it, or it would just be like volume?
Yeah, just
out
like
of
you
everyone.
can pan the drums to the right or the left. Now you can either pan them to the right or to the back left or to the back right or whatever.
Yeah, middle of the room, middle left of the room, like back left of the room.
Which that does make sense. Like
from back left to front right of the room.
Right,
like
right.
Moving from back left bottom to front right top. You know,
from
what I
your
mean?
foot to your nose.
Like, yeah, you want to have like shit coming at you from. You know, want some X-wing shit.
I mean,
going
they
on.
should
What do
make
you
cars. Want? Cars should have that. Cars should be like a Dolby, like so that it's built for epic shit like that.
I was just thinking of It's a Small World at Disney. It's so good at that.
That's like 1,000.
It's so insane. And it's like around every corner you turn, and then there's this new piece of music
Have
for
you done
that
that
little
ride
side.
at Disney World?
It's been a long time.
Like we did it kind
a
of
few
recently.
years ago.
I'm more of a thrill seeker roller coaster guy.
Yeah,
Nice.
this was like we were with little kids.
Glad
So it
we're
was
talking
like,
about roller coasters now.
you are the roller
Full
coaster. Yeah,
circle.
there we go.
Keep it going.
No, this was like we were there with our little nephews and nieces, and so we were like at the like old school Disney World park.
Yeah, who were
I
like
forget
all
what it's
under
called,
3.
but it's all about the teacups and whatever. And we did It's a Small World, and like I loved it because we
so
were just on this
amazing.
little boat going really slow, and you're passing through these different like cultures, and it's the same song,
Right,
but the
yes.
instrumentation
You bring me
changes
back.
as you go through, and like when you're in between, you know, India and Ireland, like you're getting a little bit of the bagpipes and a little bit of the sitar, and like they're gonna blend, and then eventually the bagpipes will be out, it'll be all sitar. It was super cool.
It was very fun.
Yeah. So anyway, are you gonna mix your new album in 18 different? And what's it called? Dolby Atmos. Atmos.
Atmos. Yeah.
They have Atmos.
Yeah, I'm doing the most.
Cheers. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Is there any like AI mixing? That's kind of what I need because I'm not a good mixer. I'm a bad mixer. I always have to
answer
outsource my mixing.
Yeah, short answer is yes.
People are gonna like come
sick.
for you. I'm just kidding, but this is a rough time. People are
Oh, for the AI?
people are feeling defensive against AI right now.
Like, I could make you a template. Probably. I mean, depending on what your needs are. I mean, if it comes to just something like mixing this, but I mean,
No, I
could
mean
make
more
you-
like a song or a beat or something.
Oh,
like
on that, yeah. So my mastering engineer Will Borza is actually working on exactly that. Like, as a mastering engineer, you know, he's charging one rate, but then he's gonna he says, you've got Maseratis and you've got like Fords, and like not everyone can afford a Maserati, but Ford is a very successful company. So he wants to be able to cater to the boutique end personally, and then cater to the Ford end more. Not AI. It's not AI. It's just, programming, It's him programming algorithms to get things to where they, within the zone of where they should be,
But they'd be reacting to the waveforms. Like,
Exactly.
they wouldn't just be a preset you download. Depending on what
Right.
the track is, the presets are
be
going to
reading what's going on in
Parameters
there.
will, read and react.
Yeah, I would have to.
So that's kind of like AI. I think that's kind of what. I guess, it's not necessarily.
Have to bring it
AI
to level.
per se.
Bring it to like.
future is
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
It's here.
But yeah, like I have a totally untreated room. Behind my speakers are just windows that rattle. Like everything sounds bad, and like
Yeah,
I need to improve my.
This room is full of windows, so it's
Yeah.
going to be hard to treat.
For sure.
Unless you're covering windows.
Yeah.
Which, you could do removable panels that you just put paneling up during the shoot. And
Don't like the. Well, I guess just during the shoot.
and then bring
sure.
them back down. Yeah. That would be totally doable. Like you can set one on there, set one. I was literally just thinking about this already. Set one there, set one there, set one there, set one on the floor there to the top, like.
Yeah, like stuff in the corners, maybe.
I wouldn't worry about the corners. The corners is about bass traps, a bass buildup, and you're not
Or there's just a
doing.
vocal.
Yeah, you're not doing.
Sure.
You don't have to worry about under 200 dB.
Yeah. So in your place, you basically built like the walls came in, everything came in like a foot or half a foot or
Not
something.
even. No, it's like 2x4s all around.
Got you.
The
And then in
width of a
between
2x4
all of them
all
is
around.
some
Oh, so the
insulation or
paneling
something.
is made of rock wool insulation.
Nice.
Yeah, it was basically the industry standard recommended thing. Like I was buying it actually. Do you guys know Jazz is Dead?
I always see like flyers for it, or
Right.
like I follow them on Instagram. What exactly
Anyways,
is it? Is it like an event?
It's a multifaceted thing. It's like a record label and a concert event series. They do a lot of concerts, and one of the two like heads of it are like the people who present the shows. Adrian Young and Ali Shaheed Muhammad. I ran into Ali Shaheed Muhammad, who's from Tribe Called Quest.
Okay, sick.
Yeah, the bassist. And
Me Tip and Ali. He's
Yeah.
Ali. Okay, there you go.
exactly. Ran into him at Home Depot. I had a shopping cart full of rock wool, these giant bundles of rock wool, and he's like, "Hey, building a studio." I was like, "You know it."
Wow,
you know
that's
what I
sick.
mean?
It's really cool.
And you
Yeah.
recognized him like as well?
Well, yeah, their studio is like 3 blocks from where I live.
Wow.
Also, Stone's Throw is right there. There's a lot of music production and recording and things happening right within a 5-minute walk of my place. It's
That's
kind
so
of
cool.
kind of a trip,
Yeah.
Wow.
When I think about it, and someone else is like, "Oh, did you hear about this studio on your?" I'm like, "No, did you hear about this studio there?" "Oh, I have this studio over here." I'm like, "What?" There's
like
I'm
Silicon
wondering about
Valley
the
of audio.
average studio per block like ratio, like what's going on in Highland Park. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's no secret. There's Gold Line is this bar that has vinyl like all lining up and down the walls, and DJs that come through and spin the vinyl from the walls every night, and that builds community right there, which is what I'm all about. So like
What's that place called?
Gold Line, it's
Is that in
Stone's Throw's
Atwater,
bar.
or no?
It's
Okay.
in Highland Park. It's
Okay.
on Figueroa.
Gold
So-
Line or Lion?
Gold
Like the
Line,
animal?
like the
Like a
the
line.
train.
Okay,
like
yeah.
the Gold
Gold
Line
Line.
train, which
Gotcha.
is now the A line. Yeah.
Okay.
So that place is cool. They've got this patio outside, which hopefully sticks around. Did y'all hear that they might actually get rid of these outdoor patios?
No, like all the ones that came in during the pandemic?
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard that.
anything about that.
I had heard earlier this year, maybe in April or so, that they were talking about October cutting that shit out
No.
and getting rid of all the outdoor stuff that was on sidewalks and in the street or whatever, things like that. I've seen one place already take theirs down. I don't know if they're renovating or what they're doing, but I don't know. That was word on the street. You hear things like that in Highland Park. People talk like that, like the neighborhood's talking.
Not around here. This is a quiet neighborhood. It's not very hip. I bet the amount of studios on this block is a lot less than yours.
Oh,
Highland
yeah,
Park's got its quirks. Like there's this billboard, the Lodge Room venue.
No.
It's like a really cool venue in LA, in Highland Park.
We don't get out much.
It's okay.
Yeah, we
I'm
left
just-
the house.
Yeah,
I'll give you a tour of your city sometime.
yeah, that sounds great. I'm gonna like pin every location you
Yeah.
mentioned
No,
on this.
but so they've
on
got this
episode.
billboard. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea. See, you've got to record. That's a good, if nothing else.
That's true.
That's
you
what we're
just-
here for.
Yeah. So they've got this billboard across from the venue, and it says, "Come for the food, stay for the music," because they've got a small place, Checker Hall, that has a restaurant, really good food, and I used to play there actually, but people keep messing up the sign. Come for this, stay for the.
I love it.
Like it's a chalk sign, so people just rewrite
As of
it.
yesterday, or maybe a couple days ago, it says, "Come for hipster hoes, stay for the music."
Yeah, Highland Park's good for a lot. It seems.
Yeah.
The other ones weren't as funny, but I saw that one yesterday. I just died. Pointing it to all my local friends who also hadn't seen it. I'm like, this must have just happened because no one had seen it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so we met at the Federal. We went for there's like a jazz night jam there at the Federal.
Yeah, right.
And
It was
that's
the
where I met
Tuesday
you. It was like
thing?
an open mic thing.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Does that one still go on? But there's a lot of open mic jazz jams and like funk jams and stuff, right? Like, is there pretty?
There's a good amount of stuff. It's open mic. I wouldn't say there's this weird culture in LA
maybe open mic's not the word.
about like every time you have a gig, people assume that it's like something they should come and sit in on, which I love when people come and play and stuff. That's cool. But it's just there's like this attitude of there's this I can't tell you how many times people have asked me is the Baked Potato gig a jam session? And I'm like, no, there's a cover charge, there's a ticket link, just come to the show.
That's a show that you do.
Yeah.
I think are those the clips you usually are posting on Instagram? And
Yeah,
stuff?
that's that
Some of
old
those are
school
so
looking type
epic.
play. No,
Where is that?
it's in Studio City, right across from Universal Studios, right by the Squeeze House where I saw you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I don't
right down
think
the
that-
hill from there.
Yeah, sick.
You know
So
where-
everyone assumes oh, I brought my trumpet. Let me get on there.
It's just this. Yeah, I think there's a new generation, a new wave of musicians who came through post COVID. Everyone's just really trying to get out there and do the thing by any means. And so the thing where I met you at the Federal, I think it was the Tuesday thing downstairs, right?
It was downstairs. Yeah.
Yeah. So that hang was not a jam session ever. It was a gig where musicians would come and mostly not sit in, except for sometimes horn players, because other people didn't have to get up in order for them to sit in, Or if it was some of their very best friends,
Sure.
like the guy running the band, Randy Amata, who actually mixed track 2,
Nice.
amazing mixing engineer. These kinds of things would happen, but now the post-COVID energy is everyone's kind of bum rushing the stage and just acting entitled.
Well,
We're at the
desperate.
jam session. It's nobody ever said this was a jam session.
It's funny.
Y'all
Even
So
just
funny.
started saying jam session, and then jam session, jam.
I'm here for the jam session.
Jam.
Well, even at a jam session, like Smiley's, it does get to a point where it's oh, now it's the part where the that one guy's gonna play his singer-songwriter song or something, or it's the worst when at a jam someone's oh, let's try my song, let's do my song. It's oh, we just kind of want to just fuck around.
We're kind of just playing
Yeah.
music, generally speaking.
Yeah. Or at some point it always turns into just someone tries to just do a 12-bar blues, and it's okay. So
It's kind of
let's get past the
usually
blues.
when you have a personality trait that's really intense, it ends up being one of your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of LA's personality quirk, It's it's great. Everybody's so creative. Everyone's really talented. Everyone's really ambitious and has a lot of projects in
right?
Yeah.
Not shy.
Stokes in the fire,
Yeah,
whatever.
like, we shouldn't be
Kind of
shy, but
Shouldn't be
vying for
shy.
attention,
Put yourself
though.
out there. It's great, but yeah, nobody's really wanting to just sit down and listen too much. You're
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
true.
let
A
me
lot
get
of
in.
cooks
Let
in
me
the
at it.
kitchen.
Let me
Yeah.
at it.
There's some intense over eagerness that comes around sometimes, you know?
yeah.
I could see it.
But at the
sure.
same time, like I went to that jam, and sometimes I've gone to jams. I've been like too shy to be like, oh, I'll play the drums, you know. And
Yeah.
so I made a point at that jam and be like, I'm gonna play the fucking drums tonight. Like I don't give
Hell
a fuck.
yeah. And the clips I saw, you sounded good. I showed up after you
Yeah.
had played, but everything
I think I
heard,
did okay.
I think you sounded just
I think
lovely.
I did okay, and I went right.
Better than I would've
I was
played.
like Ruben started it because it's his house, his drum set. And
Fair.
I took that second slot, and that's that perfect slot because everyone's already like, you know, people are a little shy about that second slot, and I was in, I was out. It was great. I think I did it I executed.
It was
well
fun. I
in the
hadn't
jam.
seen like your drumming faces in quite a while.
Yeah, we grew up together, so she's seen me drum a lot, but not like since we've started dating. Have you really seen me drum until then?
Not really.
But in any case,
It's fun. It's fun.
let's get back on this roller coaster now. No, so you've got all these songs. You said you had all these collaborators on it. Like, yeah, was it like? Was there a point where you're like, I'm making it? Like, at what point did you decide I'm making an album? Did you kind of have like pieces of all of it, or
It was right
like,
then in February of 2020.
So when you made that first
February
song,
16th, 2020, I got together with the boy Lee.
Yeah.
We got started on that first song, and it just lit a fire where I was like, I need to keep working on this. And you know, again, I was on GarageBand still at this time. I was just getting things. All the sounds that you hear at the very beginning of my album are stock GarageBand sounds.
beautiful.
And then, well, stock GarageBand sounds and this Behringer Model D that I got because my boy Shags, with the no
smile Shags.
No smile Shags.
Yeah,
Why don't you ever smile, Shags? If
cheer
you,
up.
I'm gonna send you this video, buddy. I'm gonna tell you to smile. This is me telling future Shags to smile. Okay. Anyways, he told me go get a Behringer Model D. You should get one of those. And I was like, okay. And it was like a cheap mono synth, and it was my first mono synth, and I was like, sweet. And then I put it on like 4 tracks on the album. But yeah, a lot of the stuff going on that record is like cheap GarageBand sounds, and then I brought in some other friends to like add to the pop. What was the question?
I forget. Oh, just like at what point? So you did that first song, and then you decided, now I will start. This is going to be the first song of an album.
I made a few like shells of songs, and I was feeling good about those, and you know, then this was during the pandemic, you know. After the first few months of pandemic, of starting some ideas myself, and 2 days before we started getting shut down, I had a session that led to my first single, Yuki and the Ox, with Yuki Hayashi, bass player from Japan. Amazing. He lives here. Anyways, yeah, I'd say late August, about 3 years ago now, my boy Tommy, So Topic was his artist name. Now he goes by Tommy Raps. He came to LA from Oakland. He was living there at the time, and he came to visit and stayed for like a week and a half, and almost half of my album was started during that week. Like 4 or 5 tracks were started during that week, and then most of the other ones had been started another time. And then, yeah, 3.5 years into making this album. It's my first one. My mentality is the first one, I'll let it take as long as I need to, and then from then on, it's got to be faster. You know what I mean? I'll learn my lessons now, and I'll move forward having learned those lessons. And I feel like I'm there now, where I can I know my order of operations for mixing, But anyway, so yeah, the last track on the album is actually the last one that I had started, and that was in like February of 2021. Wait, 2020? Yeah, 2021. So that was when I started the last track on the album, and then from then on, it's just been a process of mixing with other people, like other mixing engineers, learning to mixing my own stuff, getting the studio built so I actually have a room, because you have to have a room or really, really good headphones, but mixing headphones, but ideally a good room.
For sure. A good room's pretty crucial. Like,
Yeah.
or you need headphones and then like a car.
Good room,
Eventually,
good
you gotta hear it in a
monitors.
good room,
I got some NS10s, which are good for mixing in a
Nice.
room like that, you know, especially. So it sounds really good in there, but also not like too good. My Rocket 5 speakers that I had before that, which are like so basic, like
Yeah, I think that's what I have.
yeah,
the
it's
Rockets.
it's like basic. They sound good. The thing about them is they'll fool you into thinking that your stuff sounds fuller than it does, because it gives you what you want to hear, but then it doesn't account for like how other speaker sets and ear pods and car speakers and all these different things are gonna translate this.
Yeah, it's like they're fun to produce with, but not smart to mix with.
It's fun to listen back if you got some big Rocket 5s and you want to show off to your friends couple good Rocket 5s and like or Rocket 8s rather, or 10s, the big ones. Yeah, but the 5 is cool too. It's just, anyways, it wasn't helpful for mixing. It was just not honest. I'd do it and then I'd go to my car for a car test and I'd be like, what the fuck? This isn't even close. Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing wrong? And then, it took a long time to even realize the most appropriate way to bounce things and the most appropriate way to, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it'd be like, oh, you learned, I can't even think of a particular thing, but it'd be like, oh, saturation. I didn't know about saturation really until about a month ago.
What is saturation?
Right. Saturation is something that's more important than like almost anything else in mixing. And it's, I'm not going to call myself the expert having just learned about it a month ago, but I know what it does intuitively because I have ears and I know what I want to hear. And it's basically overdrive,
Okay.
but a controlled overdrive with high pass, low pass options, wet, dry options, dark and bright options. And there's also different,
So it's a plugin
colorations.
saturation?
There's different types of saturation plugins.
And you do this
have
on your
sound
stereo,
toys?
or you do it on like each track gets its own separate saturation?
I've
you do this on
been
the whole mix?
instructed, and it makes sense to me to do it mostly on buses.
Yeah.
Like if I've got
even-
all
I don't
of
even
my,
bust, dude.
if
I
I've
gotta
got
step
all
it
my
up.
horns. Well, dude, I've got songs with like over 150 tracks in one song that I have to like 20 something vocal overlays, and like
What do you mix
same
in?
with horns, like they're 20, 30 horns, mixing in Logic.
Logic. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Maybe you could show me something after we.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd love to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you should like definitely do, and then there's a lot of things that are like open to interpretation. But with saturation, it's like it's overdrive, it's color. And this color, this character that you give to whatever group, say it's your drums, you're giving it to all of the drums and percussion, this one type of saturation. It kind of marries the sounds going from one speaker set to another, whatever different headphones. It's like got a character that makes it uniquely that. You know what I mean?
I do.
It especially helps with phone speakers. I've been
Nice.
told, like, my buddy Xavier Taplin is the one who told me first about saturation and really like told me specifically, you think it sounds like you need to work with some saturation. He's got amazing ears, like
Sounds
some
like
of the
it.
best ears of anyone that I know. Just listening
Yeah.
to a mix of mine on the phone, he was like, I think you need to work with saturation.
Wow.
I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah.
It's funny
me
too,
help
like
you.
the phone, most people are going to hear it on a phone,
Right.
is the sad truth. Like in a car
Earpods
or
are
on a
getting
phone.
pretty common.
Yeah.
Earpods.
Yeah, that's smart to mix it in
So
earpods
it's
too.
important to hear. It's important to reference
Yeah.
mixes. I've been doing that more lately, and it's been helping a lot.
Yeah, like when you're mixing a song, you're supposed to go listen to it everywhere because it's going to sound a little different everywhere and it's got to sound good.
That I
everywhere.
know.
Yeah,
I
okay,
still
that makes-
don't think I understand saturation.
Saturation is just like how the sound is colored. Like it can be
But
brighter.
what does a color do to a sound?
It could be brighter. It could be darker.
So picture
Like
okay.
darker being more muffled, brighter being sharper.
Yeah. Yeah, not sharper in the way
Not
you mean it.
necessarily, but maybe.
Yeah. Like picture
we
it's all
debate
relative
how we
to,
debate
yeah.
it. Okay.
picture
These terms.
picture you've
Yeah.
got like
It's like
You've got, like-
describing wine. It's very subjective.
picture you've got like 8 different horn
Subjective.
tracks. You recorded 8 different horns. And then a bus, what a bus does is puts that your balance of those 8 tracks just into one track. So it's just one fader you're going to move to make all those go.
Right. Say you're giving something to 8 of this all like you say you've got the same plugin that you want to be on 8 different things. Instead, you can just put it on the bus, and then you won't have 8 of the same plugin running doing the same exact thing. You just have it doing it to the bus.
But to me, I think
it's grouping. It's grouping things.
But tell me if I'm wrong. Putting the overdrive on each 8 tracks, or busing it and putting the overdrive on the one track, even if it's the same overdrive, it's going to sound different overdriving the bus versus each one overdrived separately. Or is it exactly the same?
It depends on, I mean, if they're all the same exact overdrive as what would have been on the bus.
Yeah, same
it'll
overdrive.
Be the same. It'll be the same if you're
So there's nothing about like the fact that they're all being overdriven together through the same machine.
No.
Doesn't matter.
No, it should be the same still. Okay. Yeah.
So busing is just
there's
help wrap your head around something.
So like what we're talking about output. I'm talking about like where the output is.
Yeah,
I'm
grouping.
Yeah, you make a bus, but so there's different ways to use buses. So there's a way where you send the stereo out or the mono out or whatever, the output of the audio, send the whole audio output over to the bus. Or you could on the sends, it says sends, you can select like say bus 10 is your reverb bus. I like to usually put almost most or all of the reverb on a track will come from one bus. Mm-hmm. And that bus will.
Did you just burp? That was your burp?
My throat is like nonstop.
Yeah, and then you have variable like how much you're going to send. Bust your heart.
Bust your heart. Yes.
A little overdrive over here, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use sends. Like I send to reverbs and stuff, but I never do like a bus, like output and like grouping and stuff.
Right, but then with so you do sends to the reverb, right?
I do sends to reverb or delays or
so that you can have one reverb setting, but then you can do different levels of it to different things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what I'm explaining. Like with sends on buses is where you just send. It'll have like 0 to 100%. That's like a wet dry knob versus like if you just do stereo out, that's just 100%. It's all going over there, you know. So.
Okay.
That's how I can.
Don't ask me to explain it back, but
I'll show you later visually.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Christine's been just kind of slowly soaking up music production as kind of from watching. So
it's cool. It's really valuable stuff. Honestly, there's a lot of cool application, and like you'll just start hearing everything differently, and it's just interesting.
It is true. I feel like I've gotten better at, like you said, just like training your ear a little bit.
Like there's a something to look up. Is the difference between loudness and perceived loudness, and I need to start researching LUFS.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty important like meter to be gauging loudness that I've neglected mostly.
Yeah, me too. Like I went to school for audio engineering, and like I soaked up a little bit, but I also smoked a lot of weed and played a lot of snood. And I just like.
What the fuck is Snood?
You don't know the game? You ever play the computer game Snood?
No, this is ringing a what?
It's like, it's like one of those games where you shoot and you gotta like if you get 3 in a row they disappear.
Oh,
but it had like that little blue guy.
Snood.
You remember Snood?
Vaguely.
I would just be sitting in class.
You're gonna show me, and I'm gonna show you freak
the
out
Snood
right
guy.
now. Son of a bitch. I'm like, I had a video game addiction a long time ago too. So
like that's Snood. You ever play that game?
Yeah.
You ever play that on the computer? It's like a classic.
Oh yeah, actually,
game.
I fucking totally fucked with that.
Played a lot of, but so I just like I do know something.
Sarcastic or
no? I actually did. I do remember that game now.
I couldn't tell. I just
I remember
the faces.
Even in person, he couldn't read the tone. How's an AI going to read the tone?
He needs AI.
It's not even a real person. Come on. Call me old fashioned.
It did kind of sound like an imposter, like jumped in my body. I don't know who said that.
But so I obviously absorbed some knowledge and like I can get by, but I've since always been really like neglectful to like learn it. Partially because I'm like, I went to school for this. Like, I'm embarrassed that I like don't know it and that I gotta like Google tutorials or like ask people things. But
dude,
I need to get into like learning how to improve.
Yeah, I mean, well, dude,
I never improved.
You've
I haven't improved in so long. I mean, like my beats improve, like the music I'm making
But it's so
has
much
improved.
fun.
But
It's so
I
much
know,
fun
I
to
agree.
just like have like I don't know. To me, like in the music business, there's this whole energy of like people really want to act like they know everything in a way,
Yeah.
or act like authorities, and then there's a lot of people who just are really cool with just acting like students for life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have that wonderment, like that curiosity has to be a constant, you know?
I agree. There's a third category, which is just lazy fucks who don't know anything, which is me. Because I don't pretend I know everything by any means. I'm just too lazy to improve my knowledge of things sometimes. I'm like, that's as good as I am at that, and I got a guy I can hire to do that, so I'm not gonna try and improve. But hearing you talk and like it's like why don't I do like mixing tutorials and shit and like improve my setup, and like I do have one of those muffler things. I just never use it. I'm like fuck it, who cares? It's like just record it. Like
Push that up.
yeah, just push that up there.
Really get on
and
that
go
mic.
for it, you know. So anyway,
Yeah,
you're inspiring me is
it's
what I
good to
mean.
know-
Ian. You're inspiring me to improve my shit. What do
We
you?
all have our styles, and being disarmed is important too. So doing things you know keeps the flow going. It allows you to
true.
get into a space where you're not overthinking. You're just building a sound as quickly as possible because that's the most efficient route to
Yeah,
recording.
you're right.
I mean, it's all relative too, because there's only so many hours in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, like someone hit me up recently, or not hit me up, but I had a conversation with someone recently who really wants to come play at the Baked Potato, and I play there once a month, first Tuesdays. We're about to have our 2-year anniversary on September 5th of the
Nice.
residency.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, he mentioned that he wanted to play, publicly mentioned that he wanted to play at the Baked Potato at some time. And I'm always trying to help people who want to do that to do it, but you have to know the booker who's also the owner. So like he's spread thin naturally because he's running the business and booking the bands. That's like insane almost.
Yeah, that's a couple jobs.
Yeah, so it's like I almost want to hit him up and just be like, "Can I help you? Like, do you need help? Are you okay? Are you okay? I wouldn't be okay if I was doing everything you do. Like, I don't know. Maybe I can just book a night of the week or something to help
Wow.
it. Anyways, I don't know. So we were talking about this because, right. So this friend wants to play there, and I said, well, I'm happy to set up if you have a booking proposal, I'll pass it along. You know what I mean? But there's not enough people who are getting involved in, and I don't know if this is fully on subject with what I was saying, but this is important to me, is there's a lot of people who need to make themselves a part of the community that they want to be a part of. You know, I think people think that it's just a matter of waiting for the call.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about waiting for the call. It's about literally showing your interest with your action and not with your words, because nobody wants to hear about like what you want with your words. They want to see what you're about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if
good
that
advice.
sounds harsh, they just want to see what you're about. Like, actually, because a lot of people want to do like creative stuff
Literally everybody in
for a
Highland Park.
living. Literally everybody. Yeah, and I feel like a dummy. I'm like, why did I open up a studio in Highland Park? Who's gonna rent this thing? There's another one a block away. I just saw another guy with rock wool on the corner 3 days ago when I was walking my dog. I was like, "Sup, building a studio?"
Building a studio?
He's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, man." I'm like,
Yeah, I
another one.
I have to admit I'm sort of a waiting for the call kind of attitude sometimes, and I'm want to improve that about myself.
Well, we all go
Oh my
through that a
gosh.
little bit, man.
Oh,
I love it. No,
that's
it's good.
right?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with like mixing. I mean, I have clocked the 10,000, like whatever. I've done a lot of like producing and just like making. I can make
course,
shit.
yeah.
Like
Your
when I
stuff
sit
sounds
down,
great.
I put time into doing things.
Do you
like,
guys do your own mixes, by the way?
No, we don't.
Okay.
If we did, you wouldn't be saying it's great. No, we have a buddy. So we have a buddy in Argentina who like produced
Right.
our Argentina album and mixed it, and then I had it mastered. But like,
And then he did the same for our album.
he did the same for our
Lost
Modern
and
Mystics
Profound.
album, which is called Lost and Profound. Oh, and we just dropped a music video, Southern California. Go check that out.
Y'all better check that shit out.
Yeah. And you better smile,
you.
fucking, what's his name?
Timmy.
Timmy.
Bugs? What was it?
Timmy.
Yeah.
Crack a smile on.
Come on now.
Why
Cheer up.
don't you?
But yeah,
I hope there's a
wanna
Timmy
improve my
watching this.
mixing.
God.
I want to improve my mixing because
Timothy. I'll settle for a Thomas.
somebody. Kurt?
Smile, Kurt.
But yeah, I want to improve my
It's
mixing.
your
That's what I
time.
mean. What do you use? Just the plugins that come with Logic, or did you download like Waves?
Yeah,
or
I've got
things
some
like that?
other stuff, not Waves. I'm not, my mastering, Will Borza, he told me, work with what you have until you're feeling the limitations of what you have and need to get something else.
Okay, I'm not there yet for sure.
If you're not feeling limited by what you have, then keep working with what you have. Logic
smart.
stock plugins are great. The first one that I would recommend that you get after Logic stock plugins is Pro Q3, Fab Filter Pro Q3. That'll be your go-to EQ because you can just do a lot more detailed stuff that you can't do in Logic. Like when one certain frequency range peaks more, then like if it goes up by this much more decibels, then you can make it lower by this amount. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, it's almost like compressing within an EQ.
Dynamic EQ.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Interesting.
Yeah, Pro Q3 is the jam.
Cool.
But then also the Sound Toys bundle is probably the first Sound Toys bundle and the Isotope bundle.
And the Sound Toys bundle is like sounds or
No, it's
like mixing
plugins.
tools, plugins. Yeah.
It's plugins. I have
Cool.
invested in 0 VSTs. I haven't bought any VSTs.
Yeah.
So
These are all free that you're talking about, or you found them?
But
or?
go around like Black Friday and you'll get a good deal on them.
Nice.
But I mean, in general, they're not too crazy expensive. Sound Toys, you usually get a pretty good deal though for Black Friday.
And
That's
then-
like the plug-in bundle VST shopping spree time.
And then the rock wall and the like
Rock wool.
rock wool. Oh, wool. Oh, so okay. It's like insulation kind of rock wool. Like all in. Was it a room? How big was the room that you treated? Was it kind of like the size of that room? Was it the size of this room?
Size of this room, with this wall being the end.
And like, what was your
plus like a little closet, which I opened up, and the drums kind of you sit halfway in the closet. so-
Nice. What's the cost? What was your general cost, if you could say?
Oh,
Of like the build between.
well,
the
I'm
wood
not
and
at
the-
liberty to say because I've got my buddy Jermaine Brown who helped me build the place.
Okay.
And I can't be spitting his
rate.
I can't be spitting his rate because I don't know his rate. But you know what I
Respect.
mean?
That's
I'll ask you
courteous.
again off camera.
Yeah. I'm
just curious. Well, I mean, I could look it up too. I'm
the
just-
equipment itself, like the rock wool, the fabric to wrap it in. So it's basically just rock wool. Like the backing of it can be cardboard. It can be thin plexi, like kind of like wood, backing that's like
Perfect
super
description.
thin. You know what I'm
It's
talking
very
about?
satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I could do that all day. God, it feels so
So
good.
talented. So many talents.
Anyways, no disrespect to people who meditate seriously.
They're fine.
It's hard to not offend people these days.
Seriously, that is.
What were we talking about?
So like, is
Always
that
a
stuff expensive?
concern.
The rock wool, is it expensive?
Rock wool, the big bundles they're like this big, this tall, this thick are like $60. I bought probably like 3 of those.
Okay.
But for you, I went all in. You can just make some panels. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's nice
I'm
to
less-
have a little bit of room. My
Yeah.
room, it sounds like a booth. It sounds like a studio booth.
Yeah.
You don't need that. That's
No.
like,
I mean-
that would be the whole, like.
I'm
up there
less
covered too,
concerned
you
for
know
the
what I mean?
podcast. Like the podcast someday we'll get like a somewhere to
More for
properly
the
record
music.
it. I'm more thinking for that room for the music. That's where my music production goes down. And that's just a square room with shitty windows. And
Yeah, well,
It's actually not a square room. Yeah.
it's not a square
And
room.
that's,
It's not
and
a
that's
square.
why
Okay, that's
that's
true.
actually good.
I know that is good. Like but also the reverberation off of those like thin pane windows is probably not great. So anyway,
We'll have you do a little walkthrough.
Yeah,
we'll
I'll
fuck
check
around.
it out.
We'll
Yeah.
fuck
An
around
assessment.
with it. I'm sorry that I'm just kind of using you to soak up information, but
No, I'm. See, I love this.
the
Like,
student has become the teacher.
I love coming to situations with no idea what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had someone come over recently. I thought we were going to like keep working on a song that we were working on. And then it turned out he just like we did work on a little bit of something, but then he was like, I was like, what was that one song you said in particular that you wanted me to mess with? Oh, that one. Okay. Played it. I'm like, what do you want me to do to this? And he's like, well, I want you to play some sax, but I was also wondering if like you could mix it. I was like, okay, sure. Like, yeah. What? Let's go. Like, let me just flip the switch to the mixing side
Put
of my
mixing
brain.
hat on.
Yeah. Real quick. I'm like, I don't know. How much time do we have? It's just a little interlude track. I was like, we don't have to do too much to it. So I was able to throw together a pretty sweet little mix actually pretty quickly. Like I was happy with.
Nice.
You know, for what it wasn't meant to be, you know, you can't, I'm not hating on this, but like you can't polish a turd, and it wasn't a turd, but it was, you know, sonically not, all like just the cleanest, most like hi-fi type sounds. That
Right.
wasn't the vibe of the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, I could do this. You know, if you want that expensive sound, that's
Sure.
expensive time. More
Well,
so.
and also like
a little bit.
sometimes it's too late for that too. Like if you didn't record it properly, you're not gonna be able to mix it to sound like it was recorded in like on really good mics in a really good room or something like that.
Well, I mean, you want to make it sound.
Yeah, of course.
You want to make it sound dope. You don't want to make it sound like, oh, well, it's just a bedroom album, so I'm gonna just make it sound like it's in my bedroom. That's fine if you want to do that. There's levels to that are valid and cool. But like, I thought the track one on my album was going to be like that. I thought a lot of my album was going to be like that. Man, it's going to be like, bedroom mix sounding,
lo-fi.
whatever. Like, yeah, it's
I say that a lot
we'll just
with my
call it
music.
fucking lo-fi.
It's
Whatever.
lo-fi.
And then I started learning how to actually do it. And I'm like, wait, this song slaps. Like, why did I ever think that I had to settle like that? You know what I mean? Like, that could have been such a waste to get like a member of the Free Nationals on this song and have it not slap. Like, no, Ian. And then, but the fact that I was able to mix it in a way where like everyone who's hearing is like the neck is moving, and I'm like, all right, cool, I did it right. I think I did it right on that one, and some others, you know, some other ones not so much. But I'm learning. You know, it's a mixed bag. And it really, like, Rollercoaster really fit the bill on like what that was and what that meant to me, because it's all over the place. You've only heard the first 4 tracks, and there's a smooth enough transition from those first 4 tracks where it kind of tells a story, but there haven't been any weird sharp turns yet. But there are a lot of sharp turns that you'll be like, how did I end up here? Like, we started there, we went there. How did we end up here? You know? Especially by the last track, which is just like, I don't know what to do. Someone told me that it should be on a playlist with Mary Jane, like summer barbecue type song. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. It is totally that.
Mary Jane, like Last Dance with Mary Jane, or what? What Mary Jane?
Do.
Rick James.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, there's a good at least especially that first song. It had like a kind of 80s synthy sound to it. I really liked. Rick James-ish.
Yeah, that Model D, that's all over
Zapp
the
and
last
Roger
track
kinda.
too, except in more of a chilled out type of way, like
Nice.
with more of a Prince type of singer on there.
Nice.
But like Prince at a backyard barbecue, not Prince like you know, on a
Super
stadium,
Bowl.
like not Prince at the Super Bowl.
Not Prince at the Super Bowl.
He wouldn't sing the song at the Super Bowl.
But the fans would love it at a Prince backyard barbecue show.
At any Prince concert, yeah.
Nice.
But if it's like you got a power set to go through, that's not going to be the song. That's like,
Yeah. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on the show, and you've honestly inspired me to improve myself and my mixing and my learning, and be more open to learning things, and like let's fuck around with some shit.
I'm always up for that.
Hell yeah.
I want to go see more live music too, so we
Should I
should.
bust out the flute and just do?
Just play us out with a flute?
I
Play us
love
out with
it.
the
Yeah.
flute. Also, I want like a. Well, we'll let people know the Rollercoaster album will be out at some point, so watch for that. So follow Ian Roller.
Talking probably top of next year at this point.
Okay, top of next
I
year.
heard you don't want to release music after Thanksgiving.
Is that right? It's just too much going
How
on.
long after Thanksgiving? Like
Until
right
the
after?
New Year.
Oh, okay. Between
Like-
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
That's a dead time for the industry.
Yeah,
That's-
unless
that's-
you're Mariah Carey and you got a new Christmas album, then it's gonna bang.
Swimming in it.
Wait. When is the last time Mariah Carey had a new Christmas album?
I think that would have
That's
been
true.
1994, I
Thank
believe.
you.
Yeah, she just had to make that one.
What are you talking?
And also, like, real quickly, like, who are all the features? Because you were saying you had.
Oh, man. Okay.
Like, let
So track
Permission to
one,
brag.
No, come on. I'll tell. So the features. There's like a bunch of performers on the album. I'm gonna start with the features. Track 1 features T Nava. Track 2 features Kyla Moskovich. Track 3 there's Jordan Michael doing some vocals on there as well. Track 5 features So Topic. Now Tommy raps. Track also features Lenny the Ox Reese on drums. That's crazy. J3PO on keys on track 6. He actually that's already out too. Some of these are already out. Textures. It's a Herbie Hancock cover. It's the one cover on.
nice.
He just played at the Hollywood Bowl on Tuesday.
Oh wow! I saw him at the Hollywood
with
Bowl.
Herbie Hancock,
Oh, your buddy played at the,
the
Hollywood
guy
Bowl
who
with
I
Herbie.
had play
Wow.
the keys. I'm just realizing that literally right now. Wait a minute. The guy I had like fill the Herbie part on the Herbie cover just played
It's so cool.
with Herbie
Wow.
at the Wayne Shorter tribute at the Hollywood Bowl.
That's
pretty
sick. I saw Herbie Hancock at the Hollywood Bowl like a year and a half ago. It was so fucking good.
Really?
Crazy good. Like, obviously Herbie Hancock's good, but it didn't sound like old. I didn't feel like I was watching old guys play old guy music. Everything sounded like, if you close your eyes, these guys could be 20 or they could be 80. Like, everything was super, just had a flavor to it that was like current and like pushing forward. Like, I was
Yeah.
so impressed by it.
Yeah, Herbie's been having his new album, I believe, as last I heard, produced by Terrace Martin.
Sweet.
So there's a different energy there, and I mean Herbie's never had like a dated energy. He's always been.
No, I agree.
He's got a timelessness about everything that he does. There's a standard in that way that is
Yeah.
set, and it's a very high standard that he sets for us all.
Yeah,
It's
it was
beautiful.
phenomenal.
But also he's so like supportive. Not that I know him, but like just seen, the guy seems like
Yeah.
he's like really important. Not like beyond any of the music that he makes, even just like as a person. I heard he was prom king too. Yeah.
Like in high school.
Yeah. I mean, when you're graduating high school and you're already playing with Miles Davis.
I was going to say.
like, yeah, of course you're prom king.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, but you never know. Sometimes those people are like, they're like the nerd in school, but then like by night, they're like actually really rad or like being picked on. Like child stars are sometimes not the most popular kid in school. Sometimes they're like picked on in school. So sounds like Herbie had it all.
He's a well-rounded fella.
Yeah.
God bless him.
All right. Playing us out.
Ooh, how about warming up? No.
that?
Nice.
Oh boy, sure.
I was like, as he's doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm recording this. I could sample that.
Isn't that cool?
That was sick. Beautiful.
I mean, just like having like, when you realize what you have, everything that you have, just like as everything's recording, and you're just like, wait a minute, oh my gosh.
yeah.
I have just even you saying that reminds me of like a dozen different sessions of just jams at my place that were
Yes.
multi-tracked, and I just have to go through and start making a whole new album out of. That's kind of going to be the next step.
That's sick. I love
in
doing
addition
that.
to making a big band.
Yeah, when we were
starting a big band.
when we were in Argentina, like our buddy Nico, he's like very well tapped into all the musicians in Buenos Aires. So he's like, let's just throw a jam. And so like some of the best musicians showed up, and we recorded the whole thing on like 16 tracks, and like we have it, and we can chop it up. I've made some songs sampling from it. It's my favorite. All right, thank you for doing the show, Ian Roller, the Rollercoaster, coming out sometime next year.
Top of the year.
It's gonna happen.
Not after Thanksgiving, except well, a couple months after Thanksgiving. It's always after Thanksgiving.
My album is powered by Smiles and Smile. And my album will come sooner.
We'll work for Smiles over here.
Yo, I only accept Smiles for payment.
So,
Sweet deal.
That's on the record. You got to be careful. All right, good night, everybody.
Got me.